is how to track your time and your jobs and then deliver those results. So I want to give you a little rundown of what I'm responsible for this year so you can kind of see it flow through and how I track my work. So I work for 3M. If you've never heard of us, you probably have and you just don't know it. We make hundreds of thousands of products. We've got thousands of inventors. We make patents. We make films for your phones that you're probably all using. We make a lot of these amazing products up here. The most well-known product is Post-it notes. I'm sure everyone's used that a time or two. So I am part of their e-group, and I have to develop a strategy and standards around 15 mobile websites, none that exist today, in a year, as well as grow site optimization. We haven't been testing a whole lot for 15 sites, global landing pages, e-commerce, branded landing pages for SEM tests, and developing creative for new social media that hasn't had a presence before. Whew, packed 2011, here we come. And on top of that, I've got the everyday stuff that we all know comes in. You're working on this big strategy project, and then you got to get this little banner in there somehow. It's really due today, it's really due today, sorry. You know, that happens to all of us. We all have those pieces. And I could stand here and say, no problem, I'm going to get that all done because I'm that awesome. But that doesn't usually work that well. And we all kind of feel like this after promising crap that we don't know if we have time for. You feel deflated. This is what you look like when you show up and you don't give what you said you were going to. Not awesome. So I want to show you exactly how I track my work, and I'm telling you, this is the key for you to get more done and look reliable to everyone you work with. When a job comes in, your time comes out, which means your time to work on a project is just as important as a meeting someone has created to talk about a new piece. As soon as you put it off on your calendar and someone looks at it, they're like, oh, she's busy. Instead of thinking, oh, her calendar looks free. Let's put her on some meetings. Now, I work in an industry that is very meeting heavy. And they're not trying to make my life a living hell. No, I don't think they are. I think they're just trying to keep me informed. But, to their point too, if they can't see what I'm doing, they can't know if they're giving me too much to work on. And then I look like a liar when the person that wanted the Scotch brand mobile site done, oh yeah, it's the 11th, you said you'd have it done the 11th. I'm sorry, I had 4 meetings today. So do this for your own sanity. And you never have to worry about forgetting something, because as soon as someone sends you an email, or as soon as you have a meeting talking about your next project, block it off. Guesstimate how many hours it's going to take you. So when you come 3 days later and you couldn't remember what was, oh, let's just look at the calendar. Oh yeah, that's right. And these are all memory joggers. And everything that I'm telling you kind of gets that worry out of your head. It puts it on paper. You never have to hold that in your head again. So number 2 is confirm who the important approvers are in the room. When I say this, it's because, and I imagine if you've worked in the field, you've had this happen to you before. Someone gives you a project, someone gives you something, and you're like, okay, you want A, B, and C, great. I deliver A, B, and C, Superman, right? And they give it back and they're like, oh, actually, we wanted some fairies and we wanted some bubbles on the corner. And then I'm thinking, what the hell? Nobody ever told me about damn fairies. Well, that's because I should have asked when I get a project, who are the people that need to be approving this project? And that way I can make sure I get all of the feedback to start that project. Before I even start, I'm saving myself time. Because if I forgot the fairies, it's something I have to go right back to the drawing board and make sure I fit them in, right? Number 3 is setting expectations. And I would say part of this is a little bit of psychology on your part. When they say, I want A, B, and C, you say back, so what I hear you saying is I hear you saying you want A, B, and C. And they say yes. Not because I think we're bad listeners, but this is confirming to them 2 things. 1, oh, she heard me. She hears what I want. And number 2, when she comes back to you in a month after you've gotten that done the day you said you would, and she's like, well, this isn't exactly what I wanted. And you can say, well, we talked about it, and you confirmed that I knew exactly what you wanted. So it's kind of a safeguard for you as well. It also keeps the client thinking, okay, is that really what I want? She's asking me that question. This is an important one. And number 4 is stick to that date. After you say, okay, I get it, A, B, and C, and you pull out your handy-dandy calendar and say, all right, I've got time on Thursday. I've got 3 hours set up for you. then she can be like, or he or she, client, can be like, all right, I get it. And they haven't the expectations set in their head of when it's going to be delivered. And they're not sitting on their hands later thinking, when are they going to get it done? They said they were going to get it done this week. They know exactly when you're going to get it done this week. And you can feel confident that you're not lying to them, give them some spiel about when you hope to get it done. You know you've got your time saved. You know you're not going to get some meetings or other important projects that come over that and cancel that out. So it makes you feel better too. And here's what I do after I get a project in and start working on it. I literally list out what the project is, the hours I put on it, and then the price. So for me, my list might be a little different than yours. I'm in a situation where they brought in a design and usability expert where they didn't have one before. So all of the work that they were doing was going out to an agency. So what I can do is I can put what I cost per hour versus what it used to cost them for an agency. And this right here is what I'm really worth. And there are two ways to think of what you're worth. And I know there's a lot of wonderful reasons why you're worth something to a company. But you got to understand that people that are higher up in a company think differently. Some only think in numbers. Some only think in amount of work you do. And you have to talk to all of them. So you have to show your dollar amount value as well as what you deliver each month. So I hate Excel. I hate numbers. I'm not that girl. I am a designer. I don't do that stuff. It's just something that doesn't work well with my brain. So I knew that the people in my organization track everything with Excel sheets. So I knew that was something that even though it's not really my job description to track my own work, maybe you all have project managers you work with or other people that deal with that, but only you at the end of the year are accountable for you. And if you can pull up an Excel spreadsheet in my situation that has every month tabbed out visually and number-wise, what you've done, you're going to be goddamn impressive. I'll tell you right now. It doesn't mean you were doing more than you did last year. It means you can show them the actual facts of what you've done. And because of this, because I can actually show at the end of the year what I've done, it has helped move me up greatly. And I highly recommend this is something that you do. And it takes a little time to set up at first. You know, setting up your sheet or however you choose to track your time. It takes a couple hours, it does. But after that, actually keeping it updated every week only takes me about 20 minutes every week. One day, 20 minutes. Not a big thing to ask for. And then in 6 months' time, someone's like, oh, when did that test go out? I can say, I know the exact day I delivered it. I know exactly what they got. And I know when they approved it. That is something that no one else can do. And don't expect somebody else to be able to do it for your project manager or whatnot. Take that ownership, because once you show that ownership in what you do, people are going to believe that you can do what the next step is as well. So a couple other things that I want to tell you just to really enforce this is that it keeps you from wasting your time. Ever come in the office, I'm not really sure what I should do next. Should I work on this? Should I work on this? I don't really know what to do. I wonder what's happening on Facebook. Yeah, I'm just going to check that out really quick. That's what I do when I'm not really sure what to do. I delay it for a couple minutes. So when I come in the office, I open my calendar. I know what I'm doing right away. I can just dive right into that, and I can save myself the stress of figuring out what to do next. And it safeguards you from getting overbooked. Like we said about meetings and other things that come up, people look at your calendar and like, oh, they're free. They can help me out. No. It doesn't mean that at all. So you're making sure you're keeping yourself safe. And if you ever need to look back, you've got that record like we talked about. And it's so much easier to explain yourself with facts rather than I think. I think I did this. I'm pretty sure that's when the date was. And the biggest thing is you'll never have to worry or wonder about what you're worth, because you will know. You'll have your own track record. Not only should your boss and your colleagues know what you're worth, you should know. And that feels amazing. So compiling results is the biggest difference between just being a designer and web developer to being a strategic thinker. And here's why. So if you just do the product at hand and you hand it off, what you're seeing, what people are visibly seeing at the next level up is they got it done, but what did they give me? What did they give me? When you say you're a strategic thinker, that means I see that these are the results that I've delivered, and now I'm taking this learning, and I promise to be smarter on the next thing that I make. So any measurement around what you've done for explaining what value that the product you have created is important. Now, maybe some of you are in the position where you're working for clients, you hand off the pieces, and you never see it again. What I would suggest in that situation is as soon as you're talking to the client about the project, right away, just tell them, any measurement you can give, maybe click-through rates or e-commerce sales would really be appreciated because we want to use that and make a better product for you next time. Explain to them why it's beneficial for them to give you something. They may not want to give you financial numbers, and that's okay, but there's click-through rates. There's lots of things that you can measure other than just price. So something to think about. And as we talked about before, use the same programs that the people higher up in your company are using. If they're making PowerPoints for every single thing they do, gosh darn it, make love with PowerPoint. Whatever they use is the way that you're going to communicate to them, because that's what they're going to understand. And at the end of the day, that's what's going to make you move up. And here's just a sample of maybe what I would compile for a branded test that I did. So it doesn't have to be rocket science. Nothing here is really new. It's an image of what I've done, the name of it, how long it ran, the impressions I got, landing page resulted in X amount more visitors, and then I go back to what I've did every month in that grid, which is my hours, project costs, potential cost savings. And bam, really big one. Next steps. So this one's done. But what did I learn so that the next time I create something, I'm going to be better at it? I'm going to be even better at it than I was before. No matter if it's an A/B test again, if you learn that doing something is more important than a couple of the other things you've tested, keep that knowledge. Because that's going to show you are a strategic thinker that isn't just trying to make something pretty or just work as a developer, but you're saying, we tried it this way and it saved more time, so we're going to make sure we do that next time. That shows your true value. And as I'm demonstrating now, it doesn't matter if you're ever on a really big stage or just giving a talk to the group, about 3 or 4 people. If you can't explain yourself, if you can't present what you've created, it doesn't matter what you've created. And I know a lot of us didn't go into our jobs thinking that we would be rock stars on stage. I certainly didn't. I don't have a banjo or anything. I have no band. But I know that if I can't tell my story, who else out there is going to care enough about what I'm doing to tell it for me? Grandma does not call my office very often, so it's got to be me. And it's got to be you guys.